the really great part is it's teaching you the balance of when you're competing and when you're not.
Yeah.
And this is really, difficult for so many people because they're always in competition.
Okay. Herzlich willkommen zurück im Game Changer Podcast, meine Lieben. Und heute wird es wirklich wild, denn es ist meine erste Folge auf Englisch. I apologize in advance for all the spelling mistakes, but I guess this episode is gonna be a lot of fun. Not only because it is in English, but also because I got a very interesting guest here. He's an American guy living in Cologne, teaching yoga in different ways, online for his private clients, but also for example, football club FC Köln. Welcome to the show, Brad Franco.
Thanks for having me, Max.
Very glad to have you here. Brad, first of all, maybe we should start with the first question for all the guys who are watching this on YouTube right now and also see you. Why are you sitting on the floor?
No, I knew this was going to happen. Yeah, I mean, in general, right? We want a healthy body. So as we said this before, I mean, when you sit on the chair, it's not healthy for the pelvis and for the spine. And we are if I say this, we're a culture that lacks movement. And our only thing of thinking of movement is sprinting and running and da-da-da-da, but this isn't healthy when the body's not prepared. So, I mean, yeah, I can say I try to prepare my body by sitting on the floor, but having my knees close-ish to my chest, I think this is something that's healthy long-term so that I don't have back pain. So
that is really a good thing. I will definitely try that out for working. Maybe on the next podcast show, I will sit on the floor, but
I actually, to interrupt for a moment, but I actually teach a program to some executives, and whenever I get the chance, I tell them we have a no chair policy and we have to sit on the floor and we have to do our exercises for the next hour on the floor. And if they need to get up and move, they can, but they cannot sit on a chair. It's quite the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they sit probably on the chair the whole day. So I can assume that it's a challenge, but I also can imagine how helpful that is. And for myself as a rower, I always like, if you know rowing, it's a sport where you move just from front to back and the knees go to your body, and I can like to sit, I don't know, the Russian squat, I can sit like on like when you stand on your feet and go down with all your with your back to the floor. I can just sit there, have my feet holding the floor, but I can't really move my my knees to the sides, you know, like sitting cross-legged is super hard for me.
Doesn't work for you. So, no. But you can bring your knees to your chest like this.
Exactly. I can
but
bring my knees.
Outwards is impossible.
Exactly, it's completely impossible. And I tried it a lot, and maybe, I mean, I don't know, but we will also talk later about Vipassana because you told me that you did it as well, and I just did a knee seat because it wasn't like possible for me to sit cross-legged. But maybe this is also something you can tell me during the show or maybe afterwards how to do some practices at least, which will help me to get my knees at least a little bit down. But
I say for anyone that's watching the show, I will give some tips to open your hips before the end of the podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good cliffhanger for staying on the show till the end. So, Brad, second question I have, which I'm really curious, is what brought you to Germany?
Oh, this is the question I always get asked.
I can imagine.
So it's always a similar answer, but I like to say a vision and a dream. And to be honest, I actually figured this vision out during my Vipassana meditation.
Okay.
So when I was there, I cheated a little bit and had a pen and paper. I found one, and I was able to write from time to time. Yeah. Just being honest, and but it helped me a lot because I figured out I wanted to teach. I wanted to travel around the world. I wanted to do yoga to do this and become like. My vision has always been I'll be the Tony Robbins of yoga in that way, because Tony Robbins is a big influence for me of what's possible with human achievement on helping others and servicing others. So I really have always wanted to do this with movement. That's the short answer. It's the short answer.
Okay, and then you also and during Vipassana, I should do that in Germany, or at least in
No,
Europe.
I didn't do Vipassana in Germany. You mean to move here? No.
Yeah, to move.
So the way I moved here was basically, if I take this short answer,
Yeah.
I studied yoga. I
Yes.
got my yoga teacher training. I ended up teaching. I met this really ambitious and cool woman that was super fitnessy and was telling me all about Vipassana meditation. Then one of the people that was in my teacher training group also talked about Vipassana, and I'm going 10 days of silence. No, that's not me. I talk all the time. But they both were really cool people, really inspiring, and I just said, I'm going to face my fears. I'm going to sign up. It's 6 months from now. If I have to cancel it, I'll cancel it. And then that's when I went in California. Finished it, was completely shocked of how it felt afterwards. I think you really don't know the effects it has. And then I came back home, ended up working. 8 months later, moved to Florida to teach yoga full time. Out of nowhere, I got this job to teach yoga with a full contract, which is kind of unheard of. And then I met this woman who's German, who lives in Cologne, where I'm at now, and we became really good friends. She's really like family to me now. And she told me, if you have this kind of vision that you're talking to me about, Brad, why don't you move to Germany? And yeah, after I was like, what is there to do in Germany? It's just bad weather and there's no water, there's no beaches. I don't understand. And she's going, well, if you really want to travel, so you're telling me the way you want to do this, well, you can go anywhere in Europe from Germany. It's a great hub. And I said, okay, you know what? I might as well try the experience, get to know Germany, travel a bit and see what happens. And 5 years later, I'm here. Yeah, still here.
Wow. Nice. When did you do Vipassana?
In 2015, at the end of 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you just had your first one, right?
Yeah, I just had my first Vipassana, and yeah. Yeah, it was intense, but I really enjoyed it. So
yeah.
But yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, you in this answer you brought up a lot of stuff. I wanted to talk with you about the show. So really, really interesting. And so you started in California, went to Florida, and from there you went to Germany. I mean, that's two cool places to live, and now you live in Cologne. But how do you like it to be in Germany?
I like it. I mean, the weather is not my my thing. Staring out the window right now, I think that's really a challenge. But I think the person that I've become and the person I'm becoming from being here, from living in a different culture, understanding how people act and interact here, building something from absolutely nothing is very, very nice too. And so this is what I associate Germany with at the moment. I don't associate it with the stereotypical Germany that everyone talks about.
That's very nice, and also a good learning, I think, because something I also came up in the last time very often, because if you have that clear vision, if you have an internal motivation, what you want to achieve, what you want to do, it completely doesn't matter where you are. It completely doesn't matter how much work you put in. It doesn't matter how much maybe how much money you will earn in the beginning. If you have that vision, you just go for it, and then you enjoy the ride. And of course, you look out of the window, and the weather could be better. But maybe if you would be in Florida right now, you wouldn't be that motivated to reach your goals because you would lay on the beach more. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I think focusing on your dreams and your wishes and your vision is next to none most important. And then, of course, which I'm sure you can agree on, it's who you surround yourself with, because I think so many people underlyingly have a base of negativity where they complain about this or that, and they want to take you with them on that journey so you can feel more bonded together, when actually it kind of ruins your vision and dream often, because you're like, oh yeah, okay, I stay stuck here. But yeah, focus on your things and then find the people that also bring the same light to you. So like we were talking about before, my friend Toby helps me film these videos today that hopefully will be on YouTube soon. and his talent and his mindset is really, yeah, he's one of those people that you just are inspired to be around, and you feel like you can do better work just because you're around him, So
Yeah.
yeah, I think you can find those people anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's ice cold or if it's a sunny beach. Really believe that.
Definitely, because the weather doesn't play a role. The aura of the person is the most important part, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
so cool. Let's dive a little bit more into your into your childhood, into your earlier life, because I saw on your website
Okay,
I saw that you
get ready. Get ready.
are you ready for that?
Yeah, sure.
On your website I saw that you like as a child you maybe you can talk about that
Yeah,
better,
happy
but
to.
to that in the end, like this path on going to yoga was your way out of a completely different life, right?
Yeah, I would
You
say
had.
so, absolutely. I'm not sure where to start, so maybe I just kind of go back to being a kid, right? I mean, I think
Yeah.
we all can have challenging childhoods, and no one person's childhood is better than the others, right? And
Yeah.
everyone, before
Yeah.
disclaimer before I start, I think some people can have a really crappy childhood or a really bad childhood, and they live the most magnificent life, or they can have a really bad childhood and they live a really terrible life, or they have a really bad childhood and it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
They don't think much of it. So I think for me, underlyingly, it brought a lot. So I grew up as a kid in the 1990s in America, and America likes pharmaceutical drugs in the 1990s and still, And
Mm-hmm.
I have a twin sister, and she lives in America too. And we both grew up together. And when my parents got divorced and separated, we were very young. So in
Okay.
psychology, we're at a pretty challenging age. It was just 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And at 7 is when things started to change, right? So we changed. I guess my behavior changed. The teachers said this and this. Maybe Brad has, as they say in German, ADHS or
Mm-hmm.
ADHD. Oh, he also has anxiety. He also has OCD. He also probably has this. He's a weird kid. Just put him on drugs and take him to therapy and go through social skills and do this and that. So from 7 years old until 21, I think every day, I rarely missed a day because of, I would definitely say, the addiction to the drug, not because because of the addiction, but because of how it makes you feel, and also what I was told by doctors and my mom. You have to be on your medication every day. So from 7 to 21, my whole
Wow.
my whole growth from a boy to an adult, I was on Adderall, I was on Concerta, I was on Ritalin. I was a test subject for ADHD medication at like 8 years old, which was insane. I was so mad at my mom for making me do this. They gave me blood tests, they paid me, and they gave me random pills, and I was really mad. I was crying. I would have, and looking back, I think my mom feels bad about it now, and she wouldn't do it again. But that it's just nice that when I have kids, I will never do that to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was on a lot of different medications, but I always played sports no matter what. So
Mm-hmm.
um, for me, it was difficult because you don't feel like you know who you are as a kid, anyways. But then when you're on actual drugs, which feel good because you take a pill and then 30 minutes later you feel happy. You're like, I can, you know, I remember one time I got mad at my mom. I was really mad. And then she's like, you need to take your medication. I was like, okay. And I took it, and 30 minutes later, I'm like super high because Adderall is like a very, very high drug. And then I just came back to my mom, gave her a hug, was like, I love you so much. I'm so happy now. And it was those moments where you don't even learn to deal with your emotions. You're just
Yeah.
like, boom, okay, productive. He's not focused. But what about breath work? What about meditation? What about some really serious, hardcore discipline through a movement practice, and then, someone to support you, but make you do it on your own, cleaning up or working? And these were things I didn't understand,
Mm-hmm.
really. And so, yeah, that's what I grew up with, really, all, and even into college. And then luckily I went off of it. It was kind of a weird sequence of situations. I'll credit I'll credit my a friend that's no longer a friend, but I'm going to credit him for doing it because it was great that he did this. He was
Mm-hmm.
like, Brad, you just look like you're high all the time when you're on your medication. Maybe you should try to go off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that, and it actually made me think because I always just trusted doctors, trusted my mom, trusted my family, trusted what's going on. I've had this since 7 years old.
Of course.
And then fortunately, my dad forgot to pay our health insurance. So one bottle of pills cost over 300 euros. So I just made a commitment. I'm like, I told my mom, I told my family, I'm like, I'm going to stop taking all these pills, everything in a month. Can you just pay for 1 month? And my family freaked out. They were like, you need this. You have to have this. They didn't understand. And I just said, no, I'm going to not do this. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to self-medicate off of it, which I can't recommend to anyone. Don't. But I literally took 30 pills so I had Adderall at the time, and I'll even call it this name if you know, XR30. So they're extended release, 30 milligrams, super heavy pills. So I took them, and one by one, I like a drug addict, I took it apart, took half of it out, and put it back in, and then put it in the pill box. And I did this sequentially so that I would withdraw on my own. So I did the first week was half the pill, the second week was a quarter of the pill, the third week was a half of that, and the fourth week was a half of that, and then I was done. And it worked. It really
Really?
worked. Yeah,
Wow.
I'll tell you this, and this is really kind of serious, which I didn't realize. For a year and a half, I felt like I was in a different world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like from 21 till around 23, you wake up every morning. Imagine you wake up every morning, you take a pill and you're completely high. I think that's the closest I've ever been to maybe being like a drug addict, but
Mm-hmm.
not thank God it wasn't. It was pharmacy. But I mean, you wake up and you're dull. It's not like, so excited today. It's like, where's the high? And that was nonsense. That was really nuts. And then 2 years after that is when I found my first yoga class. And then things, I would say, changed from there.
Did you ever had the thought of like when you maybe had a bad day or felt like sick or something, you had the thought of I might gonna take another pill?
No, actually.
Wow, so
I don't know
powerful.
why. Yeah, I was like, nope, I don't need to. I I think it was more, wow, I have a hard time focusing. It's time to learn how to focus. So,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna go back to this right now. I was gonna, yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful, and it's all because you had this mindset shift of, okay, I know I can do this without the pills. I know my life will be better without it, and then you just got it. And but I mean, after 14 years, around 14 years of doing it, and then you
Yeah.
just had this 3 or 4 weeks where you took the meditation, medication, not a meditation,
But yeah, meditation.
medication to a low level, and then you just
Yeah,
cut it off. Um,
yeah.
do you think it was also because, like, on a psychological level, that you really had this shift of, okay, I can do this, I will do this, and then it worked,
I think
or also your body responded?
the body responded okay. So
Okay.
that I was lucky with. And obviously I wouldn't recommend this because I don't know how smart that was. I mean, obviously
Of
doctors
course,
want to tell you, but
of course.
it worked completely well. And I think it worked maybe so well because I did it carefully. I really did it carefully for a full month. I didn't miss a day. I took every pill and was like, which still shocks me to this day that I think about it because I don't talk about it so often. But I think I have to go back one step. You asked me if I ever thought about taking the pill again, and I think during that time I did a little bit, but not very much. I was more
Mm-hmm.
like I need to see this through. It wasn't like let me go get a pill, but it was not easy in any means because you wake up and it's like I don't know, you have this intense. It's like okay, imagine when you have your first cup of coffee and then you wake up and you're so excited, right? I would say maybe multiply that by between 10 and 20 and you have an Adderall pill. Um, of course, I'll bet with a few different things, but
Mm-hmm.
that level of "Ooh, okay, but clarity and focus. So yeah,
Wow.
um, I would say that it was really, and that's what I wanted to get to. The hard part is when I listen to myself speak, and of course understanding coaching and psychology and teaching in general, I realized that the words naturally that always came out of my mouth were, no, I'm done with this, or I'm gonna make this stop, or I can do it. They were never the fear of, it was never this fear of, I don't know if it's gonna work. I was just like, I really want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the energy that came from me. And that was very much a self-starting energy. It never was doubted. It was like, I have to try this. I've never done it before. I have to try this. I think some people have the fear of that step, and they're
Definitely.
thinking so much, right? So they wouldn't be able to necessarily take that first step without support. But I heard this thing from my former friend. This thing happened with the health insurance, and then I was like, here's my opportunity. Go. Do it.
Nice. Such
Yeah.
a cool story. And now
Thanks.
you're a yoga teacher. You did Vipassana. You meditate a lot, and I mean, you
Yeah.
turned it completely upside down. So super inspiring to see. And I can definitely underline what you said, that, and it's not only with medications or other things, and it's like this addiction when you're used to something, when you know how this and that works, like also, for example, a toxic relationship or something
Mm.
else, you know, what you got, you know what you get. It's it's the step out of it is always harder than staying into that maybe suffering.
Hmm.
And so to take that step, take the risk of, okay, I don't know what's behind that curtain. I don't know how it feels when I get out of it. Right now, I would try it. And this is it's so many different. I mean, it's such a big part of life to make such decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect, right? I'm human. So just because I have this great story doesn't mean I don't have other challenges and my own things to work through. Absolutely, I do. I but I think this is something I really look at with as a pattern to humans in general, is and myself in general, and maybe you too, is like, we'd rather stay suffering
Yeah.
in this really terrible place because we know what we're getting. We know that it's maybe like unsafe but safe, like we're surviving. Hey, rather than taking this step into the unknown where you don't know what's going to happen, even though you know potentially or most likely that you're going to be better off, but it's going to take some different pain, different feelings, different emotions. And it's like, okay, well, I know the feeling here. I know the emotional set point here. So I'm just going to stay here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even though all my friends, all my family, my own life is degrading moment by moment. No, no, I stay. Yeah, I'm curious how you help people with this actually. But
Yeah, I mean, it's every person is dealing with that differently, I would say. So I mean that I think that we all, like you say, we all have that kind of stuff going on. And I, for my example, the decision for me to step out of international rowing took me such a long time, and I had so many perspectives, and my mind changed and my feelings changed, and my 98% I wanted to go out, and then no, I will stay in for one more year and blah blah blah, and then that turned out to be also suffering um in the end. So I at there were the points when I regretted that I stayed longer, but now I see, oh no, it was fine like it was, but it's what I see also in my coaching with my clients is that everybody deals with that kind of stuff on their own way and on their own, based on their own experiences.
yeah,
And that's something you should really respect. And sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes there are people who do it very easily. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
next step, next step, next step, always out of the comfort zone. But comfort zones are, from my perspective, if you say in rowing or in sports, I mean, you're also a teacher for the football club in Cologne.
yeah,
You see, it has to be a slight comfort zone if you want to achieve something big. It has to be there. You have to have the routines. You have to have this and that. Every player I can only speak for my
Yeah.
for myself, but I always, like, before competition, I always had this rituals, what I'm doing 2 hours before the race, what I'm doing then, what I'm doing, what am I eating before the race day, and all that kind of stuff, which is all some kind of a comfort zone, because you some kind of need that, and also the schedules.
Right.
And also in other things, you have this whole schedule of the year where you know which competition is when and stuff like that. But you bring yourself out of the comfort zone during the competitions. But yeah, it also can be like a golden cage. Also, this the sports, and I think you can have that also in a job where you sit in a golden cage. For example, I don't know if you have a job where you, I don't know, work in a company or as a teacher or whatever, where you know you get your payment, you know you will get your when you retire, you get your retirement, and it's like a golden cage because it works, it's okay, but maybe you are not really happy at all. But and that's so many ways. I think a lot of people are dealing with that. But I think it's also a big part of Vipassana to combine it to all this theory and all this how it should be, and then you actually have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the part where I think everybody has their own stories.
You find the answers in meditation. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like you really find the answers in meditation, and then you begin the course of the unraveling of all of the.
Yeah.
I don't know if they say this
Definitely.
in meditation, but all, like in yoga, I remember them talking about like peeling off the layers, like
Yeah.
onion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or in German they call it the Zwiebel look, but that's with the outfit. That's with the outfit, not with the the layers of your human conditioning, of your psyche, and yeah, wow,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so funny. We have so many interests on similar levels: professional sports, Vipassana, coaching, psychology. I mean, but psychology is part of coaching. Do you feel that so to me asking you the question, do you feel that your rituals helped you? The first thing that I came to mind was energy conservation, in my opinion. So do you feel the rituals helped you conserve your energy or regulate your emotions, like your nervous system? Because, right, people are this before. I played competitive sports too, but not to such a level that you did. But that's why I think I have the advantage to teach FC Cologne, because I know an athlete's mindset. I was an athlete. That's been my status since 4 years old. So I'm curious how it felt for you, like 2 hours before, 1 hour before, how you eat. What's the body going through?
Yeah, definitely. So it was also to calm the mind down, as most of the things I did was to get into to get this high level of energy in which you get before the competition, to some kind of I don't know how to say that in English, to get that on a, like, it's if
How would
if
you
you
say
have
in German?
like how do you say that? So, like, to kanalisieren, like you have a big light and then you put it, and then it's like a laser. Channel it, exactly.
Okay.
So you have all this energy, and if you feel, oh my god, it's like, I don't know what I should do, and then first of all, it was so important for me to accept it, that I'm nervous, because it was always like, oh, why I'm so nervous? All the others, they look so confident, but I'm so nervous. And then at some point I found out that everybody was nervous, but they just didn't show. And then I found out that I also on the outside didn't look nervous, but I felt so nervous. And so first I would to accept that was such a big part. And then, I can accept, and now I can try to deal with it and try different things. But I think also some things of the rituals I did, and I was like, okay, on the day before I eat a lot of carbs because I need it for the competition, and blah blah blah. And it's, of course, it may be good for the body, definitely, but it also is so good for the mind when okay, I've eaten, I did in training everything I could. I recovered well the last days. I am eating healthy, drink a lot, and like just get into a good state. Because I don't know how it was for you, because before the competition, like the 2-3 days maybe before, you get really this this feeling for the body. My legs, they hurt. Maybe they hurt a little bit. Oh, my throat, I'm feeling a little bit like getting a cold. Nothing on your body has changed. It's just that you get more sensitive what's going on in your body. And I was, oh no, before the competition, I was always like moving my legs and they're a little bit stiff. What should I do? And it was every competition. And there was also the point with it can't be just that my legs are stiff or that my throat is like a little bit itchy. It's just that I'm more sensitive what's going on in my body. And you know, if your body knows that there will be a competition, your subconscious knows that there will be a competition, you get more sensitive, because it's like you're running away from a tiger in like 1,000 years ago, some 1,000 years ago, that your body gets into that state. Okay, in 1, 2 or 2 days, you have to really push yourself to the highest level. And so that was like this combination of body and mind, bringing yourself into that. Okay, I can not only get used to this nervousness, but also channel it and bring it on and use it to be even more, to have an even better result in the competition, because I try to handle that energy. But of course, it also sometimes worked better than in other times. So it was also,
of course,
always, a process. So, which kind of sport did you do?
So I think it's I can tie this into a small story, actually.
Okay.
So I started with baseball for 4 years old. So I think some people always ask me why I'm so flexible, and I don't think I was extremely flexible, but because of the position I was in baseball, I was a catcher, so the person behind the plate that caught all the balls when the pitcher throws the ball, if you know baseball. And so I had open hips kind of from the start, more or less. I mean, I didn't stretch them out or anything, but you had to sit in this kind of a position where you're right. So you're here, you're here always. You have one hand here, right?
Yeah.
And then if a ball drops, you have to drop down onto your knees, and you have to protect and get hit by a ball, which is not fun. Mentally, you have to mentally be prepared for pain, and
I can imagine.
That was not my strong. I didn't enjoy that, definitely not. And then I went to tennis from the age of 7, and then I ended up teaching tennis from the age of 15. So that brought me to yoga, I think, this teaching mentality, because I haven't been doing yoga very long, but sports were I mean, I traveled on a travel team. I played very competitive tennis, and I think for me, it was definitely not the same as your competition. I think you're in a completely different league, because when I think about what did I eat the night before, I was like, no, we didn't focus on this, or but of course, when you're in a game, you're like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I have the feeling that a lot of people have the assumption that we're not nervous because of an outer appearance. But if you look someone in the eye, if you just stare at them for a moment in their state of like, I'm about to go on stage or something, you might see some either hyper focus, hypersensitivity, or nervousness. And I mean, for me, I feel anxious often. Yeah. I mean, I mean, last week I still feel anxious often when I'm teaching FC, but I use it in a great way. So I love that, because it makes me be very present of what I'm doing with these players. I'm in charge of making sure that the players are getting more relaxed and more comfortable, and building strength and flexibility in a way that allows them to perform better and help them a bit with their mindset. Though they have other mindset people, but it's a piece by piece process of getting them to be more aware of themselves. So
yeah, but I think that's also a big important part of this of dealing with that kind of stress or anxiety, or however you want to call it, because it's important to you. You really want to help these players to perform. You have this internal motivation to really serve, and for that it's quite okay. It's quite good that you're nervous, because you know that it has a big worth for you. It has a value which you can give, and that's why you want to perform well. And also that was something for me in sports, and now is it in other ways, in coaching, or maybe when I have a keynote. Oh, I'm so nervous, and so
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but it's
Oh yeah.
it's if you, yeah, I mean, if yeah,
Mm. What's
you know what, yeah,
there's that
yeah.
quote,
Mhm.
be afraid and do it anyways. Have you heard this
Yeah,
one?
that's a nice one. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that. I
yeah.
love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's okay. It's good. It's not something you should worry about.
Yeah.
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 Since when are you coaching the guys from FC
So,
Köln?
quite new actually. It's been about
Okay.
2 months. Yeah,
Okay.
and so hopefully, I will speak to them at the end of this month for the possibility for maybe a contract. So maybe I have a
Nice.
full contract. Yeah.
I
So
keep my fingers crossed for you.
thank you. Yeah, the Daumen
The
gedrückt
Daumen
or so.
gedrückt.
But the this is really interesting actually for me because it's definitely a new experience. I mean, I'm very thankful for being with these guys. The team is great. The people are so friendly, and everyone makes you feel kind of at home, like you do your thing. So that's
Hmm.
nice. Um, not all the players, I would say some of the players really appreciate what I do, and they're like, okay, I know this is helpful for me. Other players just don't have the mindset of really taking care of their body. They just want to play the game and
Yeah.
then go home. And so anything extra to take care of themselves as an athlete is not, I would say, is not the forecast, but that's part of the team. So for those players, I do the same as I would do for the other players. Of course, you're able to give the players that want your attention more, always more.
Of
But
course.
it's still, you have to hold the space for these people, even when they come to your class. I mean, I'm a yoga teacher in Cologne. I'm American. People come to my class voluntarily, and then you go and teach at a professional sports team, and not half of that, but like a couple. I would say there's like five of them that are like, yeah, I'd rather go home. I don't want to sit here, but they sit there and they do it, and I think that that's really. It's really cool that they stay with the discipline. It's a very cool learning experience to manage your energy even when someone is not the biggest fan of it. They
Yeah.
respect you, but they're not voluntarily there. So that's what I've seen. But the big thing that I see is how individual each
Hmm.
person's body responds, and you see this massively in football because there are some people that have really gone the extra mile to take care of extra mile. Yeah, they've really taken the extra step to take care of their body's flexibility, to train when training is done,
Hmm.
to work on their nutrition habits, right? To make sure that they get good sleep, to learn more about how their body works, like joint function, physiotherapy, everything. And when you go to and teach this class, sometimes there are people that can easily follow along. The body movements are really easy, and for some, they're just I don't want to say it in a negative way, but it's more like you'd want to say like they're movement poor in terms of not movement poor, but their way of understanding how to move certain parts of the body is actually completely non-existent. But to
Hmm.
play with a football is unbelievable. It's so unique and so individual in that respect. So you really have to respect each player and ask them what they need and how you can help them and where they feel pain and what their goals are. And so yeah, I mean, I'm curious if you did any yoga as a professional rower, but I think for many of them there's so much that needs to be worked on because of the amount of overtraining they do and the amount of one-sided training they do. So yeah. Did you do yoga?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because the last, I think, around 2 years, I was a rower. Also, we got a yoga teacher who came to us
Hey.
once a week,
Great.
and he was a former rower who
Okay.
later became a yoga teacher. And he came to our center, rowing center, and asked the coaches, yeah, if he could teach us some yoga because he knew how helpful it would be for us.
Oh,
And so and I think it was also, and that's something I want to talk with you also later. So you're a man doing yoga, and I think yoga is still very female stuff, and this was also like he was he's, I think, I don't know how old he is, maybe mid 50s, and he was coming there to the center and then standing in front of us in the hall and teaching us yoga. And I think it was so good for us. I mean, I did yoga before, also because my girlfriend is also a yoga teacher, and she took me to some classes in Berlin when she was still living there. So I knew what it was, and I knew I did it a few times. Also sometimes not felt very comfortable there with all the women, but
it's
and
not
also because I'm not so flexible.
I think
But
yoga studios are really difficult to find where you can feel comfortable, because so
yeah,
many of them are so feminine. And
yeah,
if you're a guy, you're going like, I don't want,
exactly.
you feel terrible if you can't even bring your hands to the ground and you're struggling, it's like it's the most
Yeah,
intense workout for your body.
yeah.
And then there's women in really nice outfits right next to you, and they're just gliding through
Yeah.
without a sweat. And you're like, I hate you. Ugh. Focus on your breath. Yeah, focus on your body. Yeah, uh-huh. I need another class.
Exactly, exactly.
So could you
Yeah.
manage a yoga class well with him? How was it with
Yeah,
him?
and it was really interesting to see because as you told it from your guys from football, um, it was kind of the same with our own team. Like we were like around 20 guys, and some of them were more open, some of them were less open to the practice. Um, and but during the first, I don't know, 2-3 months, um, everybody got more committed. So first of all, they were all always there, so there was nobody who was skipping. But it's some kind of the discipline of rowers, I would say.
Okay, okay.
They just stick to it, but they were always making jokes of how do you say that when you lay on the floor in the end? What is the expression?
Shavasana.
Shivasana, yeah. And they were
Yeah.
always making jokes of, I'm just waiting for the Shiv. They came into the room and I'm
Yeah,
just here for the Shivasana and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
So it's always very funny. I was making jokes of that. And also with some guys who were like, oh yeah, why should I meditate? I can go sleep at home. And like, some kind of that jokes. But more and more, they got more into it. And for myself, it was also really helpful to have this commitment of going every week one class. I mean, it's not very much when you compare it to 12 to 14 sessions of rowing and doing weights. But
Definitely do 2 to
it's
3 sessions a week, I think, and be completely fine with the body. I
you
don't
do
know.
three sessions.
No. I only do 2 with the players, but I was
Okay,
saying,
two. Okay.
I think when you're training that much, 2 to 3 sessions a week would be helpful.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
and different types. That's another.
Yeah, that's
but I didn't want to interrupt you. I wanted to hear the
no
rest.
no problem. Yeah, I think it was most of it was like vinyasa, sometimes yin yoga.
Yeah, exactly.
But most of it was in vinyasa, and yeah, it was really helpful, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it, and but yeah, it's when you bring it into a different sports, and everybody know is like this focus I told you before, like this. Okay, this it has
Yeah.
to be this way and that way, and we have this rowing. And what does this other sports now help me for my rowing? And I think there are some similarities which you have to deal with right now. So
Absolutely.
what should that help me? And
Yeah.
what should if I can bring my hips 3 centimeters more to the side or my knees, what does it help me to kick the ball? But if you get that into the players, and also I think it was with rowing, if you get that also in the mind, and also that was also what our yoga teacher often told us stuff. He was explaining us things about breathing also, and you and repeating it sometimes, and then you
That's
get
most
okay,
fun, yeah.
that makes sense. Okay, maybe this is not that bad. Maybe it really helps me, and I would try it now. And then you have this shift in the mind, and you're more committed. And so I see you're dealing with exactly the same right now. But
Yeah.
it's also interesting journey, because if you get the players doing it, it can have a great, even greater impact.
Yeah, so what I've noticed, right? I've been doing a lot of obsessive studying since I started, but I even started before because I had my interview in November. I really debated living in Barcelona. I stayed there for 2 months last year,
Okay.
and I was like, I'm either gonna stay in Barcelona, or I'm gonna come and my girlfriend can come find me, or I'm going to come here to try this to get an interview and or to have this interview and see what goes on. And I'm really thankful for it. No matter what comes out of it, I'm so thankful because since since mid-October, I've just studied relentlessly on everything regarding football, how the players move, how what they're doing, how they're training, what they're lacking, what the biggest issues are, watching games, watching how their body moves in a game. You know, do they twist a lot? Do they jump a lot? Do they what's going on between a goalkeeper and a just a field player in general?
Hmm.
Or now it's getting more particular. What's the difference between defenders or midfielders or strikers? And I'm getting there, not there yet. But what I see is really interesting and different from things like physiotherapy is in
Hmm.
yoga, you own your own body. You have the responsibility to figure out what your body's doing and how you're doing it. And you don't have the 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 really great part is it's teaching you the balance of when you're competing and when you're not.
Yeah.
And this is really, excuse my fucking difficult for so many people because they're always in competition. So
Yeah.
you put them in a hamstring stretch and they're dying because they're putting 100% effort. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to be so sore tomorrow and you have no idea what this even feels like right now. You're just pushing yourself because that's what you know in football. So they have this I call it maybe an addiction, I can call it that, or a habit, you know. They have this habit to the push of maximum effort rather than the guys, this is your time to simply inquire about yourself. Just simply question how this part of your body feels versus that part of your body, because the more you know there, the more you can strengthen it. And if
Yeah.
you don't know it because this trainer says do this and you do it, and then he says do it this way because you do it this way, instead of letting you own your body and your own shoulder rotation, right? Then you really know how that body moves, and you only get that when you do movement that's let's say conscious in that space, and when you learn how to breathe. Because if you can breathe through the pose, you can own the pose. If you can't breathe through the pose, you don't own the pose. And I mean, those things are really interesting. I'm so passionate about that because some of the players you see how fast their bodies are adapting, and I think the boys don't necessarily see. Some of them see improvement already. They're like, Brad, can I have my yoga class please today? And this was cool. I've had this from a few players. Other players, I think they're like, yeah, I can see that it would be good for me. I don't feel anything yet. I don't know anything. And I think the main thing is we're doing a good job if you're not feeling that much. We're doing a good job if you're starting to still feel very energetic on the field and feeling lighter. And also, there were a few studies I was looking at online, and quite a few players that played up until like 40 years old as a soccer player or football player, which is almost unheard of in football, but it should not be almost unheard of in football. It should be almost the norm, are because these people are starting to go, oh, I did yoga because I've paid attention to every joint. And I think and that brings me also back to the point about sitting down on a chair. What are your daily habits? You'll see exactly what's going on after you see your daily habits. And if your daily habits are round the spine, no movement for 8 hours. Are you kidding me? No movement for 8 hours? Like, what animal in the animal kingdom doesn't move for 8 hours besides a
Yeah.
bear that hibernates? I don't know. Like, very little. Maybe a crocodile because it's waiting, but we're not crocodiles. But I think that that's something to really notice is there's so much movement in this direction, in this direction, in this direction, fast, fast, short, not full range of motion. And the joints don't get that positioning and movement that they need. And I think that that's really helpful when you can understand how to move them a little bit better and
Hmm.
take care of them. And that's it. You know, and out in the process, you're going to learn a lot about the mind. You know, but
Super
most people,
interesting.
if you bring the mind stuff into it, sit down, meditate with me, take 10 breaths. They're going to look at you like you're psycho. I didn't even bring the spiritual yoga stuff in. I just said sit down and breathe. And they're already like this, you know, and they try, you look at them and then they go, oh, no, oh, no, I don't want to look at you. you know. But if you get them to sit in their body, then you can get them to get a little more focused. Yeah, I think.
Interesting. And also when you said earlier that like this not being in a competition
Yeah.
kind of mindset, it was also so funny with us because also our teacher from the first lesson on, don't look to the left or the right, don't look
Yes.
what the others are doing, just focus on yourself.
It
And
happens all the time. I say this every class now. I'm thinking of like a punishment I can give. Like if you look to the person next to you and I catch you, you're running 10 laps around the field. But
so funny, so funny.
it's so good for them when they can
Yeah.
actually learn to do. And this is what I learned from Vipassana. I actually did that recently. I said, look, don't look at anyone. You've got two options. You look at me, or you look down at the ground in front of you and focus on what's going on with your feelings and how you're doing it. I think that's no, it's not easy. I don't expect it to be easy. But they can learn it time to time. And remember, some of these boys are what, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Professional football players at 18 years old, 19, 20, 21. They've only learned to compete.
Yeah.
That's what's gotten them there. So anything that you give them that's completely telling them the opposite is like a shock to their whole system.
Yeah.
Right. And I think they find it hard that's actually going to improve their performance over time.
Yeah.
Why is this going to improve my performance? I'm not being as competitive as I'm being, but they don't realize they need the balance to go to a higher level. And I think that just explaining what this balance is, right? Greater flexibility, greater attention to how your body feels, greater breath work so you can learn how to recover your breath faster, whether it's a nose breath or restricted breath or right? So
yeah,
if you can
use it in different ways. For example, if you have, I don't know, a free kick and you breathe through the breath, you get yourself more relaxed and concentrated. You can focus better, and it's so many ways. We have to do another episode in a few months and see how it played out with the
sure.
It's so interesting.
But it's so
interesting.
I taught them a few breath techniques. And what's really crazy. So actually, question for you: when you were playing internationally, or not playing, compete. I can say competing. You were playing.
Yeah.
Were you playing rowing? Were you playing rowing? But when you did this, did you guys travel a lot? Did you have like competition here, then you travel, come home, then really quickly you travel to another place and have barely any sleep? Or were you able to like get a good night rest and have some time?
Most of the time we were able to get a good rest. So most of the travel was within Europe, I would say.
Yeah.
So not that long flights. Some competitions were on other continents where we had to travel longer, but we always had time to adapt. But it was always also when you come back from training camp, also some traveling, definitely.
Yeah. So what I noticed with these guys, which I think is also a challenge, is how you manage a sleep routine.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at the players, it's not just, okay, here's the yoga and this is all I'm in charge of. It's like yoga encompasses a lot of things. So what are the small 1% habits that I can easily fix for them that produce that 1% in greater efficiency for them? And what I noticed with one of the game, and I don't know how much I'm allowed to share, even though I don't have a contract. I mean, I can technically share everything, but I think it'd be appropriate to be a little bit on the safe side. But what I noticed is what sometimes they're going to a game, they play the game, they're getting home after one, right? And then they're either spending the night there in that place and then taking a flight back to come to the next morning immediately to train on like 3 hours, 4 hours sleep, you know, or they just come home at 4 a.m. and they have a couple hours and then they also come and train. Luckily, they don't train intense. I think that's the best thing. On those days, you need the recovery. But I found what was very cool, and I also trained privately a pretty well-known soccer player that plays for Napoli. He found the breath work and mobility routines to be the most helpful for him when he's playing. So actually doing breath work, he started to really enjoy it. And I think this is interesting, is how much soccer players can benefit from breath work, but also in general, athletes can benefit from breath work. And as well as, of course, like mobilization of the joints, like moving them around rather than just sitting and holding a yoga pose. So yeah, that's why I was asking about sleep, because I think breath work is a huge effect of mimicking sleep or relaxing the body or energizing the body.
Yeah, definitely. And I also found for myself, I found also meditation quite helpful during my time as an athlete, because I was also struggling a lot with that sleep stuff. And when I was too tired, sometimes I was too tired to sleep properly because of training.
Wow.
And yeah. And then some other times I was like in that thinking circle before going to bed, and then was like, oh, thinking about this and that and that, and then laying like really till 2 a.m. awake. And next day 7:30 was training. So it was some kind of that when I was thinking, okay, what can I do? Like I did a lot of different things, like taking a look of my nutrition and this and that. And at some point I really got into that sleep stuff. And for myself, it really helped to get this Aura ring, which tracks sleep, because you always see it on your screen. Okay, because if you go to bed and then you wake up the next day, it's not the hours you slept, the hours you were in bed. It's you always take time until you sleep. Sometimes sleep is interrupted and stuff like that. And also the quality is very important, the quality of sleep. And yeah, I think that's a big game changer to also a better performance, not only for body, but also for the mind. That was something which really helped me.
So then a question to ask, so for the players I play or teach, what would you tell them to help them be able to sleep better? Because a lot of times before a game they can't sleep, or after a game they can't sleep,
Yeah.
right? Well,
definitely.
what did you do? Just meditation or?
So I mean, I can really imagine after the game, they're in a stadium, it's very loud. It's like, it's to get down afterwards. I can imagine that it's really hard. And so for that, I would say it's really helpful to have a long warm shower or to take a bath or something where you really get this warmth of the water to calm the body down. And if possible, also don't look at screens
Yeah,
afterwards.
this is a big one. This
is really a big one, because it's
and they're always
this
on
and
it.
that biohacking or stuff like that. No, you just have to maybe do this little things that everybody does, which I mean,
it's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. And especially after such a competition where you really, as I said, it's so many things from outside. And even after Vipassana, when you get out of Vipassana, it's like, I hear so much, I see so much, is what's going on here, all the colors. And if you're in a stadium and then you get home, maybe you win, maybe you lose, you have a lot of emotions which went through your body during the game, and you're tired but still can't sleep. Calm down, no phone, take a shower, have a good meal maybe, and do something that just brings you down. And I think that's different for everybody. Some guys maybe listen to an audiobook or podcast or meditate. I would say meditation, as an athlete, meditation helped me the most to have a good sleep, because most of the times I did it in the lunch break during between the training sessions, and I meditated and I slept after 5 or 10 minutes, and I did a nap, and it really helped me to fall asleep. And that was okay. It was, I know that it's not the main goal to fall asleep, and the main goal of meditation to fall asleep, but in that time it was the biggest thing I got out of it. And also in the evenings when I couldn't sleep, I knew I just have to do a meditation, and my mind and also my body will calm down. And I think that's also something which you can do, which you can, tell them also before the game. When you're too nervous, belly breathing is so helpful when you're too nervous.
Yeah.
It also really helped me. And that's some things from my side.
A lot of the tricks,
Yeah, definitely. But we should turn the topics a little bit more on, because we have 2 more topics to go,
Sure, let's
which
go.
I really want to talk with you about.
Okay,
And
but before we do that, I say it super fast. So what I've done for helping sleep too is not just, so I think meditation in a warm shower is great. If you lay down on your back or on your stomach to do yoga poses, not
uh-huh.
on bed, but
Mhm.
here, no phone, nothing, and you focus on belly breathing, right? The body's instantly also going to start to calm down and
Yeah.
relax. Things like a child's pose, where your whole chest is to the ground, the forehead's to the ground, the arms are down, is like this whole sense of, I can sleep now. So I think there's a few poses that really help too with players as well. But that's it, yeah, to add to that.
Yeah, and also I think if you sit and then cross-legged, but your feet a little bit to the front, and then you turn yourself to the front with the hands like
Yeah, like a
this.
forward fold, right?
Yeah, forward fold. Yeah,
Any
that
type
really
of
helped
forward
also.
folding. Yeah, so you're bringing this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Thank
All
you.
right, the next two
Awesome.
topics.
Yeah, the next 2 topics. I mean the people who hear this episode, they already know it now, because
Right.
this is after the break. I will definitely make 2 episodes out of it, so that
Okay.
it's not too long, and also they will stay on it. So first thing I also mentioned before was the thing of this, the part of the yoga where you say you have this really big female energy in yoga. A lot of women are doing it, and this is something I for myself really explored, also about all this mindful coaching kind of community, I would say, like a lot of people who are doing coaching and mindfulness and meditation and blah blah blah. There's I think women are maybe one step forward to men, like in exploring all that stuff and going into it, and being more open and dealing with that energies inside yourself also as an aspect, to where I said, oh, I was, as an athlete, you're really in that, I say, male energy. You're really in that
Yeah,
competitive energy.
absolutely.
You're really pushing, you're training, you're looking left and right, and oh yeah, I want to compete. And this so-called female energy, where you ground, where you go into it, where you go into intuitively, let it flow, don't look left or right, just be yourself, blah blah blah. And when I first got into that, also doing breath work, through yoga, through meditation, it was like I don't know how to say that, a pendulum. It was from one side to completely opposite. And I was like, oh, I just don't need to do anything. I'm happy because I know I have a self-worth which is not dependent on competition, on results, on
Oh
something
wow.
else.
Yeah.
But it was too much. It was like, oh, now I have no motivation anymore. It's, you know what I mean? It was from
Yeah.
one side completely to the other. And then in the last month, I really got into, okay, it's okay to have both. It's okay to develop both. It's good sometimes to compete, to have also goals, outward goals, which you want to achieve. And to handle that kind of energies was such an interesting part for myself. And yeah, I'm very, really curious how that is for you.
Did that come from the Vipassana,
Um,
or did that come from yoga, or what?
Good question. I think it came from my process. So
Okay.
my process of letting go of rowing and everything. It was such a long
Okay.
process, and I first started with a lot of meditation and yoga, and also breath work. A lot of breath work. My girlfriend is a breathwork facilitator, and she does a lot of like this. Also some yoga breathwork techniques, but also this more spiritual stuff, where you have like a journey which goes 1 hour, music plays, and you have this breathing technique, and you really get into a spiritual, like, brainwave and mindful state, and dive really deep into your subconscious and
Yeah.
let go a lot of emotions. And
What's it
and
called?
also
Is it called psychedelic breath?
some kind of that. It's
Okay.
called what is the name? Conscious connected breath.
Ooh,
Conscious connect. Yeah.
CCD.
Yeah, and it's not this
Conscious connected
breathwork
breath.
technique where you breathe through the mouth and get into that it's into the nose and out through the mouth. So it's still some kind of a relaxing breath, but it's still breath work. So it's still hard to stay into the technique, and that was also a part. But for me, it was also the process of letting go of rowing, which also had to do with the separation of my parents, which was just in 2019, so just 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Which played a big role, because my limiting, my belief structures were all this, like, with family stuff, and then there were some similarities which I detected, and but some beliefs I transformed, which really led to the thing. Oh wow, I feel such a relief now. But then also the motivation for rowing went away. You know what I mean? Like the motivation for
the balance.
Because it was the belief that I'm not good enough, and this belief of I'm not good enough was saved by a belief of, if I do anything I can, then if I will always do my best, then I will still be good enough. And that belief saved the belief of I'm not good enough. Like, really tricky in your mind. And when I noticed that, it was with my psychologist at that time, it was mind-blowing. And it really, really, really helped me to understand myself better, and to release a lot of, I also had back pain in that time, and a lot of more emotions. But it also, like, my motivation for competition really got slowly down afterwards. And that was interesting.
Yeah.
And that's in long words, what brought me into all that stuff. Not only Vipassana. Vipassana was one part now, but so that what I mean. What brought me also into that female male energy balancing thing, and all the transformation now out of rowing. There are a lot of, like, processes for me which I dealt with, and that I don't know, it was one part of my inner journey the last month that I just thought, oh, what is going on with my energy? I didn't have, like, it was completely gone. My motivation of, like, doing something,
achieving,
it was completely gone.
I feel like that comes from Vipassana. I don't know, like, that's my, I don't know if it's just the last month, but no, I'm not. For when I was done with my Vipassana, I had a similar feeling.
Okay.
Of this, of like, okay, I don't have to achieve anything. I can just be, and it's fine. But
That's interesting.
But it also sometimes takes you out of touch with what society is doing, right? Which is creating and building. And I think I ended up having a coach a couple of years ago that also, his name is Jimmy, and he was really helpful for me, that also did Vipassana. That's how we connected. It's like, if you do Vipassana, you connect with these people. As long as they're not psycho crazy people, because there are psycho crazy people that also do Vipassana.
Yeah,
and
true.
It's a little bit weird. But he was really interesting, because he also talked about materialism and enjoying materialism and achieving what he wants, but still being attentive. And he talked about meditation as learning to train your attention and pay attention. And you spoke about the masculine and the feminine. I think this is a really interesting topic that I don't talk about so often in public, because I think in public it's not so easy to tell someone, get into your masculine side. But I know quite a few people that are also open to this. I'm a very masculine guy, and I need to learn to be more feminine, right? Or I'm a very feminine guy, and I need to learn to be more masculine. And I would say the people I spend my time with are open to talking about these things, because I think this is very cool to figure out, okay, I'm super competitive, bam, 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 but I'm completely imbalanced because I have no feminine side. I don't have any side where I'm soft, or where I'm accepting, or where I'm compassionate, or where I take things, a little bit slower, where I'm nurturing. And those are the people or I tend to obviously be not so close to, unless I'm helping them. But for me, and this is what brought me back to being a kid. I grew up only with women.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to imagine twin sister, my mom, my aunt, my other aunt, my grandma, and then my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents got divorced at 7. So at 7 years old, I was raised by women
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't see my dad for 10 years. This was just, it was all about feminine. It was all about women and understanding how they operate and what they need and how to be more friendly and more kind and not be so, if you show, actually, I think it was sometimes if I showed anger, it was like very not allowed, right? If I want to punch a wall, it's like the worst thing I could do as a man. And I think I only punched the wall like once in my life. I mean, if you touch a woman, yeah, but that would never happen, and that's another story too. But I think for me, it was also learning to balance my masculine side. So, like, especially being a yoga teacher, I mean, people think if you're a yoga teacher, which is hilarious, either you're gay, you're super feminine, or yeah, you're just an odd person, And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
but
okay, well, I'll take the odd person, but whatever.
all
I
the
mean, most,
stereotypes of that
oh my
still of that
God.
yoga scene.
Yeah.
So
But I think that's the thing is there's with yoga, there's also this, often you have this, I want to call it spiritual arrogance a little bit, like
Mhm.
spiritual, um, there's another word for it, but that's what I called it. You just think you're above everyone else once you've started on the spiritual route. And
Yeah, I
especially
know
after,
what you mean. I know what you
yeah.
mean.
And after I did the Vipassana, I think I also was like, okay, I'm on a different level now. And that's the level where you realize, no, you're not. You're not. That's completely your ego. That's not. It's you need to relearn how to be there in the moment. And sometimes I feel like I've met people that are high level executives, and they're more zen and more meditative than yoga people, and they
Yeah,
don't necessarily even meditate.
yeah.
But I think I think we all should take a moment to meditate. I think this is the most important thing. But for me in general, yeah, I found that it's been the side of very feminine, even though I've been competitive my whole life, but very feminine to now turning to masculine and learning to believe in myself and what I have to offer.
Yeah.
I've always been brave. I've always been like, okay, I try this, I do this, let's go. Um, that doesn't mean I'll go skydiving, not that kind of brave, but I'll be brave in yoga adventures or traveling somewhere or
Mhm.
trying something new and saying, okay, I'm going to teach this to these people, even though I'm completely worried, like scared or whatnot. So I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, it's been learning to actually balance my masculine side
Mhm.
and getting more into the side of, no, this is how it goes. Even when we postponed the interview today or our podcast, I wrote to you and I realized I said sorry, and then I'm like, do I have to say sorry? No, I don't, but I said it. Like, I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm late. Instead of thanks for waiting, or hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need 10 minutes, or hey, I need 30 minutes. Does that still work? Right? I could have easily written, hey, I
yeah.
need 30 minutes. Does that still work for you? Or do we need to find another time? And I think these are the concepts of balancing the masculine and feminine. Feminine is we think it's fragile, but it's actually a gorgeous,
Yeah,
beautiful thing that we need to
definitely.
embrace. And if we want to
Definitely.
recover, if we want to relax, if we want to calm down, you need a feminine side. You need
Exactly.
you need the feminine side. So yeah. And then the people we spend time with, like our partners, how are they? Are they more masculine or feminine? My girlfriend is often I think she's a very masculine woman, absolutely, but her drive is super masculine. Like I'm up in the morning, 7 a.m. I'm training, and then I'm working, and then I'm doing this, and then I'm doing that, and then I'm going, going, going. I'll see you at 10 p.m. at night. Super mad, like go, 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 and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, slow down.
So
Yeah.
interesting. Such an interesting topic. And also, yeah, as
Oh,
you said, there are not a lot of people who speak about that publicly. And it's also like this masculine, feminine. What does that mean? I'm a
yeah,
man, you're a woman, and you have to be feminine, I have to be masculine. If you look on this energetic level, it's, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to cultivate both,
yeah,
but also to bring it into a kind of a good balance where you can step into each or another when you have to or when you want to, like when you want to recover. Oh, okay, now I know how I can let go. Now I know how to relax after competition. Like, for example, okay, and now I have 1 or 2 days off. In that time, I will use to calm myself down. And I know afterwards, when the training is starting again, I am back and I'm even more in that power. You have a thought.
I do. But I want to let you finish, but I have a thought.
I was already there.
So my thought was like, I feel that a lot of people wonder why they have this masculine side of like, I must show power. I must show that I'm the strongest and I'm the alpha male and I'm the best here. And that leaves no room for weakness. And femininity is a weakness, but it's actually not. The ability to learn how to relax is the number one way to also learn how to build greater strength.
Yeah.
If you can relax a muscle, there's a guy named Simon Borg Olivier. He's definitely weird, but he's extremely intelligent, and he's, insanely intelligent. And he talks about the stronger you want to build a muscle, the stronger you must learn how to be able to relax it, because the muscle can only strengthen as much as the other side can relax. Or like when you engage your biceps, what happens to the tricep? Stretches. If you can't allow that to stretch, this pops, right? And I think that was a really interesting concept. I think let's talk about one weird spiritual comment, like in the yoga term. The right side is the masculine side, the left side is the feminine side. Yeah. So if you have issues on the right side, that's often a sign of, okay, where's my masculine? So all my injuries have been on my right side, by the way. All my injury, my shoulder or my hip or my knee, I've always had challenges there. The left side, the feminine side, has been totally fine. And I don't talk about it like this typically, but I think that that's interesting to look at. Not that you have to judge it. You can call it BS. That's fine. It's like a structural issue rather than this, but that shows me, okay, if I want to step further into my power as being in this masculine leader role, if I want to be the yoga teacher for huge football teams, or have my own online studio, or do these things, I have to step into my power as a man. But at the same time, I need to learn the balance. And then when you teach yoga, you have a full different level of balance. Like, you've got arm balances, those are probably the masculine, and then the rest is feminine. Flow the arms up, bend the arms, lift the chest, spread the fingers, can you feel your heart, blah blah blah. No, I can't feel that. I need to go back into Shavasana. I'm done with this. Take me home.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah. Really cool.
Okay,
awesome.
We have one more topic.
Yeah, we have one more topic to go, and that's a topic we mentioned now quite a few times, and now I want to share some things more with you about it, and ask you about the Vipassana experience and how it was for you. So the experience itself, and also what brought it to your life. You already mentioned a couple of things, and also that afterwards you had this period of, oh wow, now I got it, and all the others not, and blah blah blah, and also that it helped you to really, it's like this female.
The balancing. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm curious.
Okay, so like I said, I found this at the beginning, but I'll say it again quickly. 2 people recommended Vipassana to me. One was a really cool girl that I was inspired by, and the other was a really cool guy that I was also inspired by, that I did a teacher training with yoga. So I just started yoga in January of 2015. I took my teacher training in April, and by the end of May, I was a certified yoga teacher. Which for many, that's another story for another time. But for many, it's like, oh wow, you didn't really study yoga, and studying comes every time you teach. You always have to be a student, I think. But June, I became a yoga teacher, and in November, I did my Vipassana retreat. And the only goal that I had was to learn how to meditate, because I had no idea how to meditate. We didn't really. Our version of meditating in our yoga place, love this place. It taught me a lot, but it did not teach you how to meditate. It taught you how to listen to party music while doing yoga poses. So you had loud music, hot yoga, really fun, hip, cool, not meditative. Yeah. So I wanted to learn how to meditate, and I was really nervous. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I was like, how the hell am I going to do 10 days of silence? And they don't tell you that when you get there, that doesn't count as the day. That's the evening
Yeah.
before the day starts. And then they don't tell you that you do full 10 days. And then the next day you go home. So I had 12 days, not 10. And my mom was freaking out. She thought I was like, I had an issue because she couldn't, your phone is gone. Your phone does not exist. Your life does not exist. You exist in this small space.
Yeah.
So that was nuts. But a few things came to me. So
Mm-hmm.
I say this honestly. I definitely, if I can call it cheating, I cheated at the Vipassana, but that wasn't my goal. My intention was to learn how to meditate and to stay with something,
Mm-hmm.
even if I didn't do my best. And to be honest, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah. So I would probably like to do it again. I'm debating whether to do 10 days or a 3-day. Now that I finished the 10-day, I can do a 3-day, which is great. But it was still completely overwhelming for me and also completely enlightening for me.
Yeah.
It made me realize there are certain techniques that are in my brain, hardwired now, that come to me whenever I need them because of this
Yeah.
meditation retreat. So learning how to focus on my breath at any time, just stop and look at the upper lip, like the Anapana technique. And it was a really difficult retreat. But it was, it was really helpful. So I went to 29 Palms in California. It's like a look close to Joshua Tree National Park, which is very famous in California. And yeah, every day, what's funny is I recommend Vipassana, but every day I suffered immensely.
Yeah.
I swear to God. I swear to God. I was,
Yeah.
the first day I'm going, oh my God, when are we going home? And then the second day I'm going, this is ridiculous. Third day I'm like, oh my God, I think I can't handle another day. Fourth day, I look and they're like, tomorrow we get to learn the actual Vipassana technique. I'm like,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
All right, I'm in. And then fifth day comes like, all right, cool, learn. Then sixth day is like, oh no, no, this is so hard. I can't even, how do I go inside my skin? How do I, what? Okay, I'm not focused. My mind's gone, So day 7, falling asleep. Okay. And like, just no. Then the meditation teacher comes and taps on you to wake you up. Sit up tall now. You cannot sleep. Day 8 and then day 9, I remember like going, wow, this is insane. And then you look at there's a note saying tomorrow is Noble Speech Day, and I was like, no way. And the second that words left my mouth, it sounds really dramatic, but I'm going to make it dramatic because it is. The second that words left my mouth, I realized something had changed. I was like, okay, well, what the fuck? This is different. I don't know what this is. And then what you felt this I would say calmness and this direct habit to go, okay, it's time to meditate. Okay, it's time to meditate. Okay. And I really kept the habit for a while after the retreat or the Vipassana retreat. And I felt much less emotional, I would say, for a few months after, maybe even longer. I felt more like, okay, neutrality, equanimity. I don't need to show a high or a low. I just stay in this respective thing. And also, I didn't want to talk that much.
Mm-hmm.
I really just wanted to just not talk. I felt like every time I talked, I lost energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's with so many people, and that was cool. Maybe I really should do it again now that I think about it, because then it's like, okay, I don't need to talk to this person. I don't need to talk to them. I just need to be with myself or do these things. No, but what blew me away, I would say, is sorry for the American terms, blew me away. This is amazing, but
It's
I think
fine.
what I mean. I'm starting to realize it. But a very key highlight was being done.
Yeah.
Getting your wallet, your keys, and your phone out of whatever box they had them in. And I looked at my phone and I just was going, immediately I felt this was weird. I felt like the area that lights up like on a brain scan when you're using your phone. I felt like I could feel whatever area that was in my brain before I even turned the phone on. It was like that addiction. I went, oh, I feel this. Okay, I don't want to touch my phone. I don't want to even turn it on. And I really was nervous to turn it on. I had to turn it on to get directions
Same.
home. You felt the same, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
felt completely the same.
you just that is the weirdest feeling, and I've never had this in my life, and I was so thankful for it. Although I'm completely re-addicted to my phone and to screen time again, but it was absolutely shocking to get that feeling of I know where this is going to feel. I know what it's doing to my brain. I know how it's affecting me. Nah, don't need it. And but I mean, when you're meditating 11 hours a day with your eyes closed, a little bit different, right? A little bit, and but I think that showed me that shutting off your visual cortex, right? Just actually being awake, but shutting off your visual cortex and learning to stay awake is such an important lesson to just give your mind a break. And there was a coaching technique I also learned about that, where it's sometimes if you're going from meeting to meeting to meeting, you just close your eyes and you maybe chant to yourself a word like release, release, release with the eyes closed. And yeah, the second I had the phone on, it was a whole another ball game. But fast forward, I finished the Vipassana. I went back home. I was dating a woman at the time, and I asked her to write me messages every day. I think I had 20 messages on my phone. That was basically it. It was just from her. I was like, brrr. And it was so funny to like read them, to meet up with her again, because when I had that connection with her again, it felt very different. And she thought I was different. And I think because of how intense it was, and because I didn't really have any meditation practice, I felt like I was on a new level of, I didn't even know if I'd be able to feel strongly again. I felt like everything was more or less numbed a bit, which took a while, but it came back. It came back decently fast. And that was when I realized, like I said, that I really wanted to teach and travel around the world, open yoga studios and more. Vision is only, I don't really want to open yoga studios, at least not right now. That's not my plan anymore. But I had a clear vision of what I wanted to achieve. And then I went home and got to work on that, wrote a vision statement, got a mentor, wrote a vision statement, started a gratitude journal, started meditating and doing these things every day. And in 8 months, out of absolutely nowhere, but I think it's absolutely because of this, call it spirituality, call it doing your work, some woman takes my class, loved the way I taught, and I got an offer to go to Florida to teach full-time at a resort. And I think that's a complete direct translation to doing this work, meditating and staying focused on myself. And that really brought me here, I think. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
awesome. Yeah. I mean,
tell me about yours.
Yeah. But yes, so a lot of similarities. So especially like the day when I was able to speak again, and then also the day when I got the phone back, I really didn't want to. I mean, of course, I wanted to know how my girlfriend is doing, and if everything in the family is fine. But apart from that, I really didn't want to open my phone. I didn't want to look at the screen. And so I start at the end, but it was so intense to go out of that like little world back in the real world again. And like all the noises on the train stations, the noises were so loud. And then I went to a little supermarket and I saw all the colors and like this, I don't know, hundreds of bottles of different drinks, and every drink had a different color, and was so much for my like, yeah, it was. I immediately got sick because it was just too much for me. Really, it was like coming back to the world was way too much. Yeah. And also it was so funny. And I came home. I did it in England, and it was like, yeah, just in February. And when I was there was this big storm around over Europe. And on the day I stayed there for one more day, and then I wanted to fly back, and I was sitting in the plane, And then they announced, oh, we have to wait 3 or 4 hours till we can depart because of the storm. And I was just sitting there. I said, oh, I just did Vipassana. I'm so relaxed. No problem. I can just sit here. I just relax and everything is fine. And then it just took 1 or 2 hours. So it
Nice.
didn't took that long. Came home. I was so excited. I was just talking to my girlfriend what I was experiencing. And I was like, whoa. And she was sitting there like, okay, you're a little bit over the top right now. You're, like this 10 days of not speaking, which I also really, really enjoyed, were a little bit too much for me. I really wanted to, some part of me really wanted to speak, really wanted to connect, wanted to share and everything. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, it was also very intense for my mind and also body. And for me, the first days were hard because of you get taught just the anapana and you have to sit and like try to don't move. After we got to taught Vipassana, it got better because then you know how to deal with the pain and everything. But in the beginning, it was super hard to just sit there, and for everybody, but everybody was moving.
Yeah, everyone.
And also the side where I was really not beautiful. It was really crappy. It was a relatively new, no new buildings, but it was a new site for Vipassana, and it was like really old. I think it was a former primary school or something, and it was really an old place. And it was, but still there were some lovely moments with the sun going up in the morning when we had breakfast after the first 2 hours of meditation. And the sun got up, and on the other side there was still the moon, and nobody was speaking, obviously, but everybody was standing on the grass and just standing there and enjoying the sun going up and stuff. And moments like this were so intense and so powerful. And of course also during the meditation, I think it's 1 or 2 things I want to share, because I had this, I got into it because of course someone recommended it to me also, and I watched some YouTube videos about it and everything, and that some kind of had this expectation of what's going to happen there. I mean, you should not have that. You know that what I mean? And you shouldn't. I knew that. Oh no, I just go there without expectation. I just want to experience it. But then you go there, and then I think after 6 or 7 days, oh fuck, I'm trying to experience something. I'm holding on something, and I really like. Oh wow, I have to let go. And I was standing there just looking in the sun, and I got the thought of, Max, just experience it and let go of that this whole experience has to give you something. Just be. And the meditation right after it was really, everything was coming. Everything was like, I was really getting into a flow and really letting go. And oh wow, yeah, now I have it. Session afterwards still was different, so it was like every meditation was so different, but that was something really which was really intense. And also the thing that the combination of the experience you do all the time, all this hours and hours of meditation, and in the evening the classes, what the Goenka, the teacher, tells you, and to what does this and that have to do with each other? How is it possible to get more what is the term, to get more equanimity? Get more equanimous in life just because of scanning the body? I don't really get it. And then from one day to another, it made more sense. Always make a little bit more sense to me, but it was still hard to get, and my mind was still so confused and up and down. Afterwards, now I know that the subconscious is doing everything. You don't have to focus on anything. You just have to focus on a technique, and that's it. And the subconscious is doing the rest. But when I was there, I was confused so often. I was like, what? That doesn't make sense here. What is that? I really don't get it. And then, but afterwards, I'm like super happy that I did it, and I would definitely do it again. And I would definitely recommend doing it if someone really wants to do it and is like committed or has the calling of doing it. I would just say go for it, because I think there are a lot of people having like this fear of, oh, how can I do this 10 days of 11 hours a day? But when you once get there, you will get into it. It's not that big deal, I would say. You get maybe also because I'm used to some levels of pain, but and some
you
parts
also
I
have a
enjoyed it.
meditation practice too.
Yeah,
You
I also
know,
had a meditation practice.
I think that's something that's really helpful.
Yeah, but
some parts you
maybe
enjoyed
15 or 20 minutes a day, sometimes
sure.
guided meditation, and then you sit there in silence. It's something different. But
Sure.
There were definitely points where I really enjoyed the technique, and I really got into a state of, okay, wow. And then that were the sessions when I stand up afterwards and I had completely no pain at all. I was just standing up, walking away. And the sessions I was struggling more were like, oh, my knees, oh shit, it hurts. Well, you know, when you stand up afterwards, like every angles were like making noises, and that was kind of interesting. That the sessions when I was really into it and really it flowed, I was standing up afterwards, like just walking away, no pain at all, not a little bit pain, and that's also taught me, okay, it works. Sometimes if you get into it, and if you have a moment when it works, then you get this reward.
It's funny you say this, because I spoke with someone else about this after I finished the Vipassana retreat, and he's also a coach from San Diego, and he said the same thing regarding pain. And also for some of the work I've done with companies with emotional intelligence and yoga and meditation and coaching, I presented some studies that were on the fact that meditation helps with pain reduction.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize that there's so many people that have a lot of pain, chronic pain, and it's not that it's in the mind, but it's that the way of handling it or approaching it is that mindset of, oh my God, I'm freaking out about it. It hurts so much. But a few breaths, a meditation can really release that pain in so many ways. So it's really insane to hear this from you.
Definitely. And it's this whole concept of, it's not the pain itself. It's you grabbing the pain and like trying to push it away or let it go or whatever, just trying something and not just let it be as it is. But if you don't experience it, if you would tell me that now, I would say, if I haven't experienced that in that meditation, I would think, what do you mean? Because in sports, I was also getting used to pain, but it was always like, there was a relationship to the pain, always. It was always like, oh, the pain was also there. I had to get used to it, but it was on a completely another level. It was in an active level. It was when I was moving. It was when I was competing. It was a completely different state of mind. And then there in the Vipassana, it was, okay, just separate from it, just observe it. And it was completely new level of understanding what pain is and also how to deal with it for me. So, and I can imagine if you tell that some people from a company and say, just do some breath and do a 5-minute meditation and see what can be. And if the person has never done it before, of course they don't understand what you are talking about.
That's really cool to hear about your experience. I think now I would have a completely different understanding going to Vipassana, but for me it was so much. I'm such a beginner to everything. I just want to get there.
7 years ago, right? So long time ago.
Completely just started. Like I didn't know any meditations. I think I really didn't know any meditations. The only thing I knew was sit still and listen to your breath.
You should do it again.
Yeah, I think I will. I think I will. And I would definitely I would recommend it too. I think at first I thought it was crazy to do it more than once. I thought this was like a waste of life. And I know I don't know if you had, but we had like a manager, of course. Like you have a manager that's like
we had this as well. Yeah.
And so there's two things that are funny. So number one, I found out I think he hated me because I was such a maybe I would go around and do yoga poses in different areas. That was my way of dealing with it. And I think he was like, okay, do not make a distraction. And I'm going, I need to do something for my body. He's like, just go for a walk then. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's not enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I found out he did 10 Vipassanas already.
Yeah.
10, that's 140 days of silence.
Yeah. Nearly half a year.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I was blown away, but I'm really impressed that that he did that when I look back on it now. What was the other thing that I wanted to mention regarding Vipassana? There was something else. Oh, yeah. Two funny things. How did you like the food? I'm curious
Oh,
because I think it
the
might be
food.
different.
The
Was
food
good?
was amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
You had 2 meals a day, right?
Yeah, 2 meals a day. Yeah.
And then a tea or something, right?
Yeah,
Like
and then a
that.
tea and 2 pieces of fruit.
That's right. 2 pieces of
Two
fruit.
pieces.
Yeah, and if you're a returning student, you shouldn't have any of that, right? You should only.
Exactly. Then you just have like a lemon water or something.
Yeah. And I'm really curious how you enjoyed Goenka's voice. Because the first day, I almost laughed in the middle of class. I swear to God, I almost laughed listening to his voice. And you can find him on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've searched it. I was like, how can I get his guided meditations? And there are also his dissertations online too.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Everything is online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also the courses. Yeah. It was the first time, I think, on the first morning.
Yeah.
When the voice came, because it was always when the old students also come, like the servers are also coming into the hall, and then there's this whole half hour of chanting,
Oh,
like from I don't know,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and from Goenka, and I was like, also like, what is going on here? It was like, is it really like
The weirdest voice
I don't
ever.
know, some kind what
Oh,
rituals I got into here now, and it was so funny to talk to the other guys afterwards, and everybody had the same thoughts about it. But it was part of it, and I was just yeah,
It was a
letting
great
it.
part. Yeah.
I think he's not the best. He has not the best voice to do some chants, but I think it's more about the content and
That
about
goes
the
to show.
words.
That goes to
Yeah,
show the energy behind someone
yeah,
and the meaning of what they want to serve you with.
exactly. Yeah,
Trumps their looks, trumps
yeah,
their
yeah,
voice. That voice is unbelievable.
yeah. But
But it's it's you got grow to love it. Like you grow
yeah,
to go, okay, great, I got this.
yeah. Yeah, but I think we get very deep now into the Vipassana. How do you say that? The Vipassana old student talk, where I think a lot of people who are listening to my show now don't know what we are talking about right now.
Oh,
So I
great.
think we should just with the
Explain it.
keep the or keep the Vipassana talk to for now and say, guys, you should just try it if you want,
Yes, try
and
it.
and we talk about it later, and just move on with my last questions I
Okay.
have to you for the show, and you should try to answer it in short words if that's possible. So,
Oh,
okay, are you ready for that?
no. Yes, of course.
Okay,
Bring it on.
okay, perfect. So the first question is, which experience you have made yourself would you recommend to everyone
Which experience have I
in
made
your
myself
life?
with?
Can be anything.
Living in a different country.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. And
Nice.
without a timetable of you're going back in 6 months or a year, because that doesn't help you adapt to the
Mm-hmm.
culture.
Awesome. I'm doing that right now. So I just moved to the Netherlands. Not
Yeah.
far from Germany, but still the culture is very different.
It's still a different culture. It's fine. It's
So
fine.
yeah. Awesome. Then the second question is for yourself, what's the purpose of life?
Ooh. Um, my mentor always said servant leadership, and I like that. To be a leader, but a leader of service to others, and to
Mm-hmm.
show. I really it's my mission to show people that you can. Yeah, I'm going to say this in this way, that you can be successful doing what you love, that you can really make it and be that role model for other people. But you must keep going. You must never give up. Punto finito.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. And the last question is, my podcast, the name of my podcast show is Game Changer.
I love this
name. And so now I want to know your 3 game changer tips or advices for my community, in short words. What are your 3 game changers?
Okay. Be kind. Yeah, that does not mean giving into everything, but be kind to others. The next thing is learn how to move your body in every direction that it can move, no matter what. And yeah, have fun.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you back. I
really enjoyed the show with you. I think we could talk more than 2 hours more now, but I think we should keep it with that 1 hour and 45 minutes. Yeah. And just I would take a picture. So
yeah, let's do it. A lot of smiles today,
especially because there's also the time on it on the side. So
so long. You got it?
Perfect. So I thank you so much for your time and also for your energy and for everything. And it was really fun to talk to you and very interesting. And I'm curious to follow your journey and to connect with you. And also do another episode in a couple of months to see where you got with your soccer players. So thanks for everything, for being here. And all the guys who... So I know last words are yours.
Exactly. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. We need to be in person at some point. But
we should.
Yeah, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much today and laughing, so that's good. And I really appreciate the thoughtful questions and the topics of discussion. It's been it's been incredible. I hope your listeners find it useful as well. So that's important.
Thank you. Exactly. That's something I wanted to mention also in the end. For everybody who got in the show now until this point, thanks for your endurance, and we hope that you enjoyed it, that you liked it, and I think I can speak for both of us. If you have any questions regarding our topics here, if it is Vipassana or anything else, yoga, meditation, whatever, just feel free to text us. And we're open to answer. So thank you for everything, and see and hear you next time. Bye-bye.